What's up, nail geeks, and welcome to a Chamaeleon nail polish video. I think the last one I did was for the Witcher collection, and I so fell in love with them. And then we've got quite a few releases between the Witcher collection and then now. So, spoiler alert, I will have a huge Chamaeleon nails video coming up very shortly. I wanted to get this one up right now as there is currently a pre-order going on between, I believe, one or two of the stockists, but this is the newest collection that she just launched on her website. If you're new to indie polish, if you're new to polish in general, you've probably seen Chamaeleon nails through Polish Pickup. I think I've gotten everyone so far since she has joined the lineup for Polish Pickup. But she is Valerie, the maker Valerie. She's awesome. Is a German-based brand. So really cool in that regard. And she's got a lot of really cool finishes. After working with her for several months, it's been a hot minute, but after working with her for several months, I can safely say I think her specialty and her jam is like the super special effects being like thermals and solars, which brings me to this collection. The Wonderful World collection is a massive rainbow assortment of colors, and they're all solars. So photographing them is a little tricky sometimes because if I'm doing things at nighttime or like when I swatched these, which was a couple days ago, it was raining. I was fully prepared to get my butt out for each polish and go out in the sunshine during baby's nap, but it rained. And I was like, what are the odds that I have this pile of solars to do and it's going to freaking rain? So I did get my photos with a UV nail lamp. So solar polish is not to be mistaken with thermal polish. Solar polish requires UV light, so going out into the sunshine here, or you can also do it with a nail lamp, or they have UV flashlights, things like that. So I did it with a UV flashlight, a little cute one that is off of Amazon, and I got my photos that way. So with that said, usually with a UV lamp is going to make you see the most dramatic color change possible in a solar polish. When these bad boys go out into the sunshine, you'll see them. Yes, they'll change pretty dramatically, but as you'll see, but they may not get as, say, super, super dark. So just wanted to throw it out there, unless, of course, you live in the South like me and going out in the sunshine, it is like literally just like a blazing fire when you go out in the direct sunshine. I could see it absolutely getting to its darkest state down here. So just a quick disclaimer on that. I'm going to quit yammering. Let's check out the polishes and dive right in. We're going to start off with Twilight Skies. This is described as a lavender pink when no UV light, basically indoors, that turns into a medium blue, somewhat blurple base when exposed to sunlight or UV light, with a soft pink to orange to gold shifting shimmer. This is one of my top picks in this entire release. It is so beautiful. The shimmer is incredibly fine particle. It gives this very soft, pinky, orangey, warm type of glow. I think you're seeing it just a touch better on my full hand shot here. This was so incredibly reactive to that UV light. So my photos are a touch shy. So please refer to the video portion to see what it looks like in the sunlight. This is so very flattering. It's got this milky type of pinky look to it, but I don't know. It was so clean, palette cleansing, if you will. I'm going to suggest 2 to 3 coats, depending on the length of your free edge, all that good stuff, and a glossy top coat. This will dry down semi-gloss, so any top coat is perfect. Purple Moon is a creamy white base when indoors that turns into a rich purple when exposed to sunlight or, again, UV, filled with turquoise to green to blue iridescent flakes and a green shimmer. Another beautiful one. Overall, I would describe this as having a milky type of white finish. The flakes pop against that creamy, soft type of milky base. It's very lovely. Now, I chose to stop at 2 coats because it does have a strong plumping feel to how it applies, and I did not want to have any type of over buildup. I also knew that I was going to go in with a glitter smoothing top coat underneath my glossy top coat. And again, I just didn't want to have too much going on my nails there. This is another one that is beautifully reactive to UV light. So in the sunlight, you will see a wonderful, obvious purple color change to your nails, and the flakes are chef's kiss. against both the indoor and outdoor colors. Stormlands is a white curly base that turns into a cobalt blue when in the sun, with pink to orange to green iridescent flakes and black flakes. Another creamy smooth type of finish going on here. It also has a milky type of finish, which I appreciate across the board. All 9 polishes have this softer type of buildup. These aren't per se like this incredibly opaque sort of finish, but they do build very well. Now, Stormlands and maybe a couple of the other ones too, you may want to use a color correcting base coat of some sort. If a visible nail line bothers you and you have, say, white tips for your falsies or incredibly white free edge, it's not super noticeable, but I did feel like it was enough to note. So soft buildups overall, but I just thought they were perfect without recommended blurring base. Waterworld is a baby blue curly base that turns dark blurple when in the sun, filled with golden to aqua shifting iridescent flakes. I don't know, this whole collection is just stunning. And the names for each polish also just make me crave a good fantasy video game of some sort. I'm so close to getting to play Baldur's Gate. I bought it a few weeks ago, but before this next semester starts, my husband's trying to wrap up his accounting degree. He's going to be finished next year. Yay. But I figured before school starts, let him get his paws on it and get some good playtime in. So when the semester starts for him, I will be starting Baldur's Gate officially. I'm so excited. And these names are just geeking me out. I do love some nerdy stuff. And it just gives this whole fantastical type of feel in general. Anyways, Waterworld is stunning indoors and outdoors. It's also got that milky type of finish to it. And I'm going to suggest 2, maybe 3 thin coats. Again, this one is packed full of flakes, very much like the previous one. So just go in light on your coats. Luminous Pine Forest is described as a minty green base that turns to a bright teal when in the sun, with a violet to red shifting shimmer and scattered hollow. So I would say this is like the key lime pie version of Twilight Skies, that first one that was my top pick. It's got a very soft, fine particle shimmer going on with it. I think my full hand shot here in a moment will give you an idea of that. It's like a milky type of green, very pretty and clean looking. But again, I feel that way about this entire set. They're all so very clean, for the lack of better words. They're just wonderful. And there's not too much, say, pigments or anything like that to distract you from their milky type of look. Anyways, Luminous Pine Forest also has a fantastic blue shift in the sunlight. It's almost like a cousin to Twilight Skies. This is a jade-like milky green if I had to really nail down what I'm seeing here in person. And the shimmer pops very well in the UV and non-UV color states. Veiled Paradise is a bright pale green base that turns plum when exposed to sunlight or UV light, with a pink to orange to green iridescent flake finish. Another squishy type of formula. This is another one that I'm going to suggest 3 really thin coats. That's how I took it, or 2 normal coats. But again, a few of these, especially the flaky finished ones, you'll want to go in very light to prevent any type of over buildup, especially because I will suggest a glitter smoothing top coat with the flaky ones in this collection as to smooth them out. And they do have a really flat type of dry down. So again, going back on the potential for using a blurring base coat, I think these are all milky looking. And as you can see on Veiled Paradise, it gets pretty dang opaque when in sunlight or UV light. So regardless, I don't know. I personally think on milky finishes, like all 9 of these, I think it's perfectly fine for it to have that softer appearance. Secrets of the Desert is a bright pale yellow that turns magenta in the sun, filled with pink to orange iridescent flakes and a soft orange shimmer. So we have another flaky filled polish going on here. And this one has, again, that milky plump type of buildup. I chose to take it to 3 really thin coats and it was perfect. I did also finish with a glitter smoothing top coat, a thin layer, mind you, underneath my glossy top coat, and it was perfect and good to go. Now, I am pretty picky on yellows, and this is one of those colors that I tend to over-explain as to what I'm seeing in person because medium to deep skin tones, if you're like me and you're picky on yellows, but you do love them when they're done well, then Secrets of the Desert is what I would say as more of a milky custard type of yellow. I'm not really seeing a whole lot of a green undertone in front of me here. This is what I would describe as a pale, true type of custard. In the sunlight, of course, you will see an obvious purple shift. Gloomy Canyon is a bright pale orange that turns a rich purple when in the sun, with violet to orange iridescent flakes and a soft shimmer. We have what I would consider a cantaloupe type of orange. This is really flirting with being a neon in my opinion. It's one of those pastel-y neon type of cantaloupe colors that's going to give you this almost tan looking appearance to your skin, like a sun-kissed look. At least on myself, that's usually how I feel about, say, like bleached neon type of colors. And I love the dramatic transition over to purple and the sunlight. I think this is going to also translate really well going into the fall season and going into spooky type of colors. This would make for some really badass nail art. And then lastly, we've got Cherry Blossom Grove. This is a lilac base that turns magenta in the sun, packed with iridescent flakes. This would have to be another one of my top picks. I think Cherry Blossom Grove, Twilight Skies, that first one, and Waterworld would have to be my top picks. That was that baby blue acrylic base. So pretty. And we can see here, Cherry Blossom goes over to that beautiful, rich magenta color in the sunlight or UV light. I don't know, these types of lilacs I personally love against my skin tone. I think they're always flattering against myself. I usually reach for these also on my toes too. And we're going to go on to the Willet Topper segment. This is where I use a black swatch stick to demonstrate if polishes have layering capabilities. So I want to note, I decided to show all of these over white as they are lighter colors and they kind of gave me somewhat of a curly, almost jelly, I'm going to say more curly type of vibe across the board. So if you're going to layer these, I would choose to do 2 very thin coats just to prevent any potential brush strokes over a white base or an incredibly matchy-match base cream color. Honestly, I liked the clean, milky look so much. I think it's an underrated finish in general, but I liked it so much that personally, I would not topper these. But if you're wanting to and you want to get creative, then yes, matchy match, really pastel type of creams or white is going to be your best friend for doing so. Across the board, they all transitioned really well over white. Now, I also want to touch on using top coats. It's recently been discussed in the PPU BST group, and full credit goes over to Lisa of Cosmetic Sanctuary that she put together this ingredients list that specific top coats may block UV from polishes from transitioning over to their colors. So I am currently using my Holy Grail swatching glossy top coat, which is Night Owl's Patience Not Required. That's in through the entire video here. I did add a touch of thinner to my bottle because I do a refill bottle. I'm not opening fresh bottles, and it does tend to get a little gloopy as I'm swatching, and the bottle can be opened quite a bit. But please note, this Night Owl top coat, I had no issues getting these polishes to still transition to their respective UV reactive colors. So just a bit of thought there in your top coat of choice when you're wearing solars. So these are currently available on Chamaeleon Nails website. I will have that linked below for y'all. Yes, she is international too. I would say the majority of my audience watching this in terms of US, I know I see quite a bit of Australians watching too. That's pretty neat. But you can order from her. She does ship internationally. A lot of times I get my PR packages straight from her. So she can do that. I believe the last time I checked, I will double check and I'll correct myself around my face if I have to. But there is a flat rate, $10, 10 US dollars to ship from her site. I don't know, back in the day when we ordered from international makers like that, I used to chase after Femme Fatale's international stockist stuff. Like back in the day, you know, I used to get with a buddy and do split shipping, whatever. If you didn't want to do that and you didn't want to get it straight from her, there is, I've got a whole list here on the PR info. There's currently a pre-order based on where you're at on Color for Nails. This one is located in the US, Nail Land, Rainbow Connection UK, and it is also this collection is eventually going to wind up in What's Up Nails and Beauty in the Bottle. So that's Romania in Europe. So very international, very accessible. I think that's really cool. That's a lot of stockists to cover, and everyone can get access to it. So I will link each of these stockists in the description box below if it applies to you. And I will also link Valerie's Chamaeleon Nails website if you want to check her out too. Fantastic brand. Let me know in the comment section below. Tell me if you have tried her. I will be back shortly, hopefully soon, very, very soon, probably within next week. You'll see another Chamaeleon Nails video drop from me. And I think I have 4, possibly 5 collections that are currently on her website now too. So really pretty video to look forward to there. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.